because it would be a tad presumptuous to hold the NBA championship trophy presentation in August. The Lakers settled for a media introduction of Russell Westbrook today, but rest assured, they full on believe the Larry is coming to L.A., just like Russ has come back to L.A. for the first time since UCLA. It's his fourth team in 4 years, but this one has LeBron and AD.
I think it still hasn't kind of hit me yet that being from L.A., growing up not too far from here, being able to watch the parades, try to go to them, miss school to try to go to them, being a Laker fan and being from LA, but now everything coming full circle for me is it's a blessing. You know, it's a lot of things I can't put into actual words just because, you know, some of these dreams don't come true for people like myself. And I'm truly blessed and thankful for this opportunity, and you know, I can't wait to get started.
Today is an incredibly exciting day for the Lakers organization. To be sitting on the podium to introduce one of the best playmakers that's ever played in the game is something we feel incredibly fortunate and blessed to do today. I think in thinking about Russell Westbrook, there's two things that come to mind for me as a general manager. One is that he's one of the most liked and respected and beloved players in the league by players he's played with. And then the second thing is, I think he is in an elite class of players in terms of his competitive nature. One of the core qualities as we build a roster is seeking out guys that have an ultra sense, a heightened sense of being competitive warriors on the court, players that played with the ultimate grit and grind and tenacity, and Russell stands in an elite class in that category.
Well, there are big threes, and then there is this big three. It is indeed a power trio, the likes of which we haven't seen since Nirvana. LeBron, AD, and Russ. Come as you are, Ramona Shelburne.
After evaluating this past season, Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka told me he felt one of the biggest things the team had lacked compared to its championship run in 2020 was an elite playmaker like Rajon Rondo, who could take pressure off LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They'd hoped Dennis Schroeder would be that player. But he struggled in the playoffs, and glaringly so after Davis's groin injury in a first-round loss to the Phoenix Suns. So when the opportunity to trade for Russell Westbrook arose on draft day, the Lakers jumped at it. There will be questions all year about whether Westbrook is a better basketball fit next to James, compared to Sacramento's Buddy Hield, the other draft day trade the Lakers considered, according to sources. But the Lakers made this high-risk, high-reward move with an 18th championship in mind. As head coach Frank Vogel put it, anytime you have three great players, there's an element of sacrifice required. We've all talked about that, and they're all in.
Dennis Schroeder, by the way, quietly and cheaply signed with the Celtics today. By the by, okay, so Russ did good work at Pauley Pavilion in college. Now I'll look at some of the stuff he did on his new home floor at Staples Center, which he did play in as a UCLA Bruin. Pac-10 championship game between UCLA and Stanford. 40 minutes, all of them for Westbrook. Dropped 9 points, 11 rebounds, and UCLA went on to beat the Cardinals 67-64. That's back when he was 19. He's still young and bouncy like that right now at 32.
In fact, 10 years later, Russ dominated the Staples Center as a member of the Thunder. In fact, he put up a triple-double. I think he's got a triple-double for his NBA career. 29 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists against the Clippers. Played alongside his new and old teammate Melo in that game. But then again, who is not his new and old teammate on this Laker team? The Thunder would win that one.
It is quite the roster they've put together. Most recently, 2020, Westbrook went off against the Lakers as a member of the Rockets. So Thunder, Rockets, Wizards, Lakers. Dropped 41 points in LeBron. Anthony Davis, 41, the most in any game at a Staples Center. They won that 121-111. However, the Lakers got the last laugh as they beat the Rockets, you may recall, in the conference semifinals later that season. Russ, that zero now.
To the Late Show. Here's how Russell Westbrook performed last season with the Washington Wizards. About 22 points a game, 44%, 32% from deep. 11.5 rebounds per game. That was a career high for Russ. 11.7 assists, led the league. Triple-double machine, we know.
Yeah, Allie, and I was a young boy, you know, maybe 10, 11, and I remember watching, Oscar Robertson, and this guy right here, and there he is. There he is. I'm going to lay low and allow the press conference to do his thing.
We are moments away as we want to get you live now to Staples Center. Russell Westbrook is now a Laker.
I just want to give a reminder to, if you could keep your phones down somewhat and not to stand up during the press conference, and we'll be good, and to wait till we call on you to ask a question. As for the mic. All right, we'll give it over to Rob.
This is an exciting day and appreciate everybody being here in person. There's a few people we want to thank before we get into the formal introduction of Russell. First, I wanted to thank Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and KCP for their Laker legacies. Two of those players, of course, are champions with us, and they'll always be Lakers, so I want to thank them for their journey here. Wanted to thank the Washington Wizards organization, Ted Leonsis, and their general manager, Tommy Shepard, just for the spirit of collaboration and professionalism and handling a transaction that was seen as a win-win for both franchises. And then I wanted to also thank Thad Fouché, Russell's agent, just for his role in all of this as well, and his spirit of collaboration once we made the trade to onboard Russell with our team. I think today is an incredibly exciting day for the Lakers organization. To be sitting on the podium to introduce one of the best playmakers that's ever played in the game is something we feel incredibly fortunate and blessed to do today. We had some goals this offseason as we were transitioning into building our team, and two of the primary things we wanted to address were adding another playmaker to our roster and then adding shooting. And I think over the last couple weeks, I'm sure all of you have seen that we've been able to meet those goals with with a lot of confidence. And today is about the playmaker piece. I think in thinking about Russell Westbrook, there's two things that come to mind for me as a general manager. One is that he's one of the most liked and respected and beloved players in the league by players he's played with. He's an incredible leader, and when you talk to teammates from the other storied franchises he's played for, to a man, the input you get is that he's one of the great teammates they've played with, and that speaks to his character and his leadership, and those are qualities that are incredibly important to our team. And then the second thing is, I think he is in an elite class of players in terms of his competitive nature. One of the core qualities as we build a roster is seeking out guys that have an ultra sense, a heightened sense of being competitive warriors on the court, players that played with the ultimate sort of grit and grind and tenacity. And Russell stands in an elite class in that category, and that's drawn us to him. And then I would say the last thing that I've really seen in the growth of his game is early in our careers. I think all of us, when we're young, we see things a certain way, and a lot of his triple doubles early were done with force, but I think now his triple doubles are done with force and with thoughtfulness, and how he uses the pieces and the players he plays with as teammates and makes the sum of the parts greater than each individual. And I think he's really learned how to think the game at a higher level. So those are some of the qualities that attracted us to this day, and we're proud to introduce Russell Westbrook as a Laker and take your questions. So thank you.
Start with Jim Hill, first question. Thank you, Rob.
First of all, Russell, welcome back. We were just talking earlier about when you were about 12 years old, you were watching the Laker parades and stuff like that. And even then you knew you wanted to be a Laker, and how much this day means to you. The other part of the question is, in the past, you've been used to being the focal point of the offense. Now you don't have to worry about that. And what adjustments will you make now that you're playing with people like AD and LeBron?
I mean, first, man, it's surreal. I think it still hasn't kind of hit me yet that being from LA, growing up not too far from here, being able to watch the parades, try to go to them, miss school to try to go to them, being a Laker fan and being from LA, but now everything coming full circle for me is it's a blessing. You know, it's a lot of things I can't put into actual words just because, some of these dreams don't come true for people like myself. And I'm truly blessed and thankful for this opportunity, and I can't wait to get started. And then secondly, I've been blessed to be able to go into my 14th season, and each year I try to find ways, like Rob mentioned, to be able to uplift and make my teammates better around me. And AD and Brian are friends of mine first. And me being their teammate, my job is to come in and uplift them, and they do the same with me, vice versa. And as the season prolongs, we will figure it out. There will be ups, there will be downs, and that's normal. That's okay. But we will figure out how to play the best way that we want to play to be able to win a championship.
Kyle Goon, Orange County Register.